just another angle on trying to present the Christian faith and Christian conservatism as the thing that literally runs the world, and they feel like they can run around the world and enforce their opinions and their belief system on everybody else.
Today, rapper Nicki Minaj will speak alongside UN Ambassador Mike Waltz to address the targeted killings of Christians in Nigeria.
Nicki Minaj working with Trump admin on plight of Christians in Nigeria. Either she's getting a check, or she was MAGA the whole time.
Well,
the big concern at the moment, and why I think South Africa is a big talking point in the US right now, is America in the next 20 years will become, for the first time in its history, a minority white country.
Well, that will be a very, very bad thing to happen. Here we go.
And straight like that, we are back. What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody doing well, doing swell out there. You dig what I'm saying? As for me, myself, and I'm doing all right. I cannot complain. If I did, no one will want to hear it. So, if you like what I'm doing, like and subscribe, get me into the algorithm, and I will go accordingly. As I always say, now, let's get into what we got to talk about, man. Here lately, it's been a lot of celebrities and a lot of people on, different sides of this conversation. Throwing their name into the hat, man, and offering support for various different categories and ethnicities of people out here. You dig what I'm saying? Let's just put it that way. And so today we're going to talk about one Nicki Minaj. You dig what I'm saying? She's the leader of the Barbs. You know what I'm saying? She's also a young woman with I won't say a sordid past, but she's got some issues with her husband that people seem to chime in on, and his improprieties with females of the underage group, let's put it that way. You know what I'm saying? And here lately, in the last couple of months, she has some smoke with everybody from Jay-Z to who knows? This is a whole list of them, bro. Like, she swear Jay-Z owed him some money from this title deal, and she just in her bag every day. And then, about a couple of weeks ago, she put her name in the hat and offered her support to one Kanye West, in his efforts to apologize to people of the Jewish faith, I should say. He came out with his Heil Hitler song. I'm sweating under these studio lights. He's had all type of anti-Semitic comments. You dig what I'm saying? And so here lately, he's tried to absolve himself of those actions. And again, we saw Nicki Minaj put her hand in support. Well, that apparently put Miss Minaj on the list of viable candidates to run around here and make look stupid. That's just the best way I can put it. You dig what I'm saying? And so, we have a situation in Nigeria. And I'll expand on that and put my thoughts into the ring as we go through this video. But we have a situation in Nigeria that Nicki Minaj chose to throw her hand into the ring again in support of, as it pertains to the current Trump administration.
Today, rapper Nicki Minaj will speak alongside UN Ambassador Mike Waltz to address the targeted killings of Christians in Nigeria.
well, thank you, Ambassador Waltz, for this invitation. It is an honor to stand on this stage with you and the other distinguished speakers here today to shine a spotlight on the deadly threat faced by thousands of Christians in Nigeria. I would like to thank President Trump for prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage in calling for urgent action to defend Christians in Nigeria, to combat extremism, and to bring a stop to violence against those who simply want to exercise their natural right to freedom of religion or belief. I stand here as a proud New Yorker with a deep sense of gratitude that we live in a country where we can freely and safely worship God regardless of one's creed, background, or politics. No group should ever be persecuted for practicing their religion, like I recently stated on social media. And we don't have to share the same beliefs in order for us to respect each other. We're way beyond thinking or expecting or assuming for, the person sitting next to you to have the exact same beliefs. We're beyond that. That's ridiculous. But that shouldn't make one person feel less safe than anyone in any room. Music has taken me around the globe. I have seen how people, no matter their language, culture, or religion, come alive when they hear a song that touches their soul. Religious freedom means we all can sing our faith regardless of who we are, where we live, and what we believe. But today, faith is under attack in way too many places. In Nigeria, Christians are being targeted, driven from their homes, and killed. Churches have been burned. Families have been torn apart, and entire communities live in fear constantly, simply because of how they pray. Sadly, this problem is not only a growing problem in Nigeria, but also in so many other countries across the world, and it demands urgent action. And I want to be clear. Protecting Christians in Nigeria is not about taking sides or dividing people. It is about uniting humanity. Nigeria is a beautiful nation with deep faith traditions and lots of beautiful barbs that I can't wait to see. When one's church, mosque, or place of worship is destroyed, everyone's heart should break just a little bit. And the foundation of the United Nations, with its core mandate to ensure peace and security, should shake. I am joined here today by peace builders, by faith leaders, by those who saw violence, saw rising intolerance, saw the threats clearly before us, and chose not to look the other way. I am inspired by their work to build interfaith ties, to see the humanity across the lines which might divide us, and to fight for security and liberty for all those who pray. I look forward to our discussion today, and I hope it will encourage deepened solidarity for us to urgently work together to ensure every person can enjoy the right to believe, to worship, and to live in peace. Barbs, I know you're somewhere listening. I love you so very much. You have been the ultimate light in my life and career for so long. I appreciate you, and I want to make it very clear once again that this isn't about taking sides. This is about standing up in the face of injustice. It's about what I've always stood for my entire career, and I will continue to stand for that. For the rest of my life, I will care if anyone, anywhere, is being persecuted for their beliefs. Thank you.
You know, man, I sort of hate to even dignify this stupidity with the response. And I won't go into my full thoughts until we get through all of these videos. But you heard Nicki Minaj say that she's standing in New York City, New York, United States of America. I'm sure Nicki's probably been to Nigeria on a concert tour or a vacation or what have you. But I don't think that Nicki Minaj has a clear grip on exactly what's going on in Nigeria. I picture her as, and you know, it's so odd, bro. It's so odd because for people that, you know, let a Taylor Swift or a Beyonce or a Bruce Springsteen, for that matter, let them speak out in support of the Democrat cause, or maybe not even in support of the Democrat cause. Let them speak out in opposition to Donald Trump. The first thing that people from the right scream is, oh, well, no one listen to celebrities? Oh, that's the problem. People on the left, you always following celebrities and thinking that there's the one that inform you on your political opinions. This is what they say. But let it be a Kid Rock, huh? Let it be a Lil Wayne. Let it be a Floyd Mayweather, huh? Let it be a Nicki Minaj. They put it in the forefront. And it's like, do they not look around and notice that they are, in fact, the people that put, their everlasting trust into one figure? They're like a mythical of a hero, born out of a edict. Some kind of super special, supernatural way of being, bro. It's as if they don't have the wherewithal and the fortitude, you dig, to come up with nice salient thoughts on their own. Well, I can't even say nice and salient because there's nothing nice and salient coming out of the administration. But it's odd. But they say that everything that they say is basically projection. They accuse everyone of the things that they are in fact accused of or guilty of. You dig what I'm saying? And so they traipse out Miss Nicki Minaj. And again, let me inform you. I don't know who this is supposed to be speaking to. Maybe the Barbs. The Barbs will start being in support of what they got going on. And we'll go into a more detailed breakdown of what news reports and various sourcing comes up with is what is going on over there. You dig what I'm saying? Because I don't think Nicki Minaj knows. Somebody says she's on like a PR tour to try to get a good PR back because she's been basically out here coke tweeting for the last month or two. You dig what I'm saying? Mad at everybody but her husband. But that's another show. So that was Nicki Minaj. They traced her out to get her to talking about this thing. And so,
hey, Nicki Minaj, you suck. You are a traitor to Africa and your people. You got up there on stage and started spitting out the same old imperial rubbish. And you think we're going to believe this shit? You really think Africans are stupid enough to think that Donald Trump wants to go there to save Christians after he literally sent bombs to Gaza to blow up churches? You think Africans are stupid? You want to preserve your career, what little is left of it? For what? For what? To teach young girls how to twerk? You're a loser. Africa is waking up and the world is waking up. They tried to take down Captain Africa, Ibrahim Traoré, in Burkina Faso, and we smashed that back. That Uncle Ruckus general ran back home. And we're going to do the same thing in Nigeria. So, Nikki, if you're a moron and you don't really actually realize what's happening, which I don't believe, I don't think you're that stupid, let me tell you, Uncle Sam, England, Israel, all the usual suspects are getting together to try to take Africa under control. AFRICOM is the name of the American base in Africa. And AFRICOM says, man, we're losing control. The Sahel, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger are broken free. Nothing we can do. The French can't stop them. Well, don't worry. We're gonna go in and we're gonna take Nigeria. We're gonna start a civil war between the Muslims and Christians, and well, those Nigerians are doomed, so they're just gonna follow along, and then we'll take over the whole country, stop them from refining their own oil, stop that economy from booming, because goddamn, that country's rich, and we're gonna use that as a base to stop the Sahel revolution, and we're gonna pull Africa away from Russia and China. And our Negroes here at home will help us do it. Hey, Nicki Minaj, get your big booty over here, girl. We gotta get you to work. And you fell for it. You're a joke. We're gonna cancel you, Nicki. And every other celebrity out there that is weak and stupid enough to fall for this and betray your own people. To hell with you. Africa is rising. The pride of lions is emerging. And there's nothing you can do, nothing you can say to stop it. But don't worry, there's always a chance for redemption. Come out strongly, call out the empire, move out of the United States, go back to Africa, and let's build Wakanda together. If you got the cojones, or the brains, but you probably don't.
Moving along from there, you dig what I'm saying? We've got a couple more videos to kind of illustrate where we are in this whole thing. And so we've got a young woman. This is somebody that I will say in the last, I won't say last couple of months, no time frame. The last 2 times that I've seen her on these interwebs, I just had to let her cook. Now, before that, she had some words and some stances and some opinions. It just kind of left a lot to be desired, and you just kind of, you look at her and you look past her. But again, the last couple of times that she's been out here with something to say, I thought she was rather cooking. And so she had something to say about Miss Nicki Minaj and what she had to say on this here stage.
Nicki Minaj working with Trump admin on plight of Christians in Nigeria. Either she's getting a check, or she was MAGA the whole time, or she genuinely thinks that she's doing something good, which, by the way, is why y'all need to have people around you that know more than you. And by y'all, I don't just mean celebrities. Everybody. Everybody should have people around them that they can consult with, that think differently than you, that hold you in a place of values. Just so you understand what's happening here with the plight of Christians in Nigeria, there is a plight of Christians in Nigeria. However, the U.S., what does that have to do with the United States? The United States is using this as a ploy, as a proxy, to find their way into Nigeria so that they can then find their way into the Sahel states of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, who, as you know, are coming together to begin a process of Pan-Africanism on the continent. They are taking back their resources from France. They are saying we are going to build our own infrastructures. This undermines the global empire's goal, and so they have to try and shut it down. Now, we saw earlier this year with AFRICOM and that cone, that general who tried to say, they got some problems going down in Burkina Faso. They're continuing to try to make this happen the same way that they're making fetch happen in Venezuela right now. When do we stop allowing ourselves to be used?
Okay, and so there you have one Amanda Seals, doing her thing. First of all, she had to say to Miss Nicki Minaj, this is why celebrities need to have people around them that are actually informed. Not just yes men and yes women that are there to be at your beck and call and go and get your tea and crumpets. You know what I mean? Carry you over water puddles and shit like that. No, you need people that actually tell you when you're wrong, give you better advice, just make you a more knowledgeable and well-informed person. You dig what I'm saying? That's step one where we need to start at. Before you get around here opening your mouth about dumb shit that you obviously have no idea, get some people around you that can have you better prepared, and informed to go out here and start running your mouth. And then she went into some details about what she understands to be the movements being made by the African government. You dig what I'm saying? And the move that they're making in order to try and shore up their resources and their land, from what I understand, has been all up and down and all over the place for the last 50, 60 odd years. You know what I'm saying? And so I went and did a little digging. You dig what I'm saying? I went and did a little digging. And so I'm going to read to you all the little facts that I came up with the matter before I go into some other details that I feel like, are relevant to this thing. So, I asked the AI companion, what's the real story, the real facts that you can find regarding the reports of a genocide of Christians in Nigeria? Give me the real numbers, and if it's Christians, if it's landowners, if it's warring factions, what have you. And it went on to say the situation involving violence against Christians in Nigeria is complex, with reports of mass killings and persecution intertwined with long-standing ethnic, resource, and political conflicts. While various organizations have used the term genocide, the overall conflict is generally recognized as having multiple facets. I then went on to ask them exactly what is the United States plan to go into Nigeria and do what exactly. And it says, in summary, The Trump administration's proposed policy is one of high stakes, diplomatic pressure, official recognition of the threat of the genocide, and a readiness to consider military intervention if the Nigerian government does not swiftly improve security for its Christian population. Okay, and now after we got that dissertation from one Amanda Seals, let's see what the good people over at Fox, had to say about this visit and how they feel about it.
The singer has praised the White House for taking action and thanked the White House for the chance to speak, writing, "I am so grateful to be entrusted with the opportunity of this magnitude. I do not take it for granted. It means more than you know. The Barbs," which is a nickname for her fan base, "and I will never stand down in the face of injustice. We've been given are influenced by God. There must be a bigger purpose." Joining me now is research analyst for the Foundation of Defense of Democracies, Mariam Waba. Mariam, thank you so much for joining us. Before we get to Nicki Minaj, give us the backstory here and tell us what's happening when it comes to Christians in Nigeria.
Well, it's good to be with you this morning, Carly. Look, we're seeing the president really spotlight an issue that's been going on for decades now, the targeting of Christians, the persecution of Christians in Nigeria and really Africa at large. What's happening in Nigeria is particularly interesting because the persecution falls into two main categories in my eyes. You're seeing the classic Islamist that's talking about Boko Haram, ISIS, the Islamic State. And what's more interesting, what we're seeing the president and Ambassador Mike Waltz highlight is these Fulani herder militias that are targeting Christian farmers, and this is really where the spotlight lands on them.
For religious reasons. They want to kill Christians because they're not Muslim, is that right?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, there's of course some sectarian dynamics here, and you have the Fulani militant herders who are herders and Christians who are primarily farmers, and there are some conflicts when it comes to how these two ethnic and different people who are doing different things and how they're interacting with each other. But we're seeing these Fulani herders militize, create militaries to attack Christians for their faith.
So how big of a deal is this speech by Nicki Minaj today?
Look, as a Nicki Minaj fan, some might even call me a barb. I think this is a huge deal. Anytime a recording artist or really anybody with a platform chooses to champion an issue like religious persecution, and more specifically Christian persecution, I think it's a wonderful thing and we should certainly encourage it.
And you saw that comment from her, that ex-post, where clearly this is an issue that means a lot to her. She could put herself in the shoes of Nigerian Christians and what they're going through, but could speaking out and working with the Trump administration on something like this come at a personal cost to her?
Look, the politics involved here are clear. I think where Nicki Minaj is coming from, and I think where we ought to encourage and applaud it, is that there is a clear issue here, one that people are going to great lengths to discount and disprove, and she sees that her voice is valuable. And I think when it comes to using her platform to shed light on this issue, we can only applaud it and we can only encourage her working with the administration.
And President Trump has threatened military action inside Nigeria. Is that something you foresee happening?
Look, I'll speak here anecdotally. As a Coptic Christian myself, another persecuted Christian group in the Middle East, I've been in sticky situations, and I would have loved nothing more in those moments than an American airstrike to come and kill some bad guys. But to understand what's really going on in Nigeria, we have to acknowledge that as much as we'd like an airstrike to fix this issue, it simply will not, and we need to address it with a little bit more nuance.
What do you mean by that? What do you think would fix this issue, resolve it?
Look, what we're seeing from the Nigerian government is denial, and I think this is where the story starts. We have to get our facts straight. We're obviously seeing our elected officials throw out some numbers, whether it's 7,000 Christians killed in the last year or 100,000 killed in the last decade or so. I think we have to get our numbers straight, we have to get our facts straight, and then we can begin to address the problem.
Well, it's an issue that, as you say, has been going on for decades, and today Nicki Minaj will be at the UN.
All right, and they'll go to people over at Fox News, and they just praise Nicki Minaj for her valiant effort. So brave to come out and speak and speak out on this genocide, man, and what we need to do as far as United States citizens and where we need to have our alliances. Now, I would like to go into a couple of areas right now. They speak about this genocide. Now, understand that they are quick to label this a genocide. You know what I'm saying? A thing that lives have been lost. But let me read you the numbers. All of these numbers go back to 2000 or say 2009. And from that time, we've got numbers ranging from 40,000 to 55,000 civilians being killed. I don't know if they have a full count of which one are Christians or collateral damage or Muslims, because like they said, a lot of people have died over there in the last, 15, 20 years. But oddly enough, when the administration talks about it, they just keep using this Christian. And I find that to be convenient for them, because as long as they can yell Christian, they don't have to divulge, the ethnicity of these people. And therefore, they don't grant us a chance to look at it and dissect and see what's really going on. Because if you recall a couple of months ago, despite all the efforts to get immigrants out of the country, the Trump administration flew in some odd number of white Afrikaners who were supposedly facing a genocide. And I'm sure this is just a part of the whole same thing. But they brought them in, gave them a warm welcome, cameras at the airport, put them up in hotels, all this type of shit, right? They were all white. Not a one black African in the group. You dig what I'm saying? So people are like, damn, you seem to be kicking out and barring black and brown immigrants, but you welcome these white Afrikaner immigrants to the United States with open arms. You dig what I'm saying? Now, I look at this thing and I say, okay, what benefit of the doubt would I give to the Trump administration that they're doing some good faith efforts? You heard Amanda Seales say this is just a ploy to wiggle their way into the government of Africa and change it up and make it more to their liking. Because if you understand, if you see, I hadn't heard anything about resettling these Christians. You dig what I'm saying? I hadn't heard anything about bringing them to the United States, giving them safe haven. I've just heard this is a perfect opportunity, or this is a reason that we should be able to send some military in here and get things cleaned up. You heard old girl say, I don't think military intervention is the way to solve this problem. Why is that even on the table? As Amanda Seales said, what does the plight of Christians in Africa have to do with the United States and all the problems that we have? I mean, hell, if you look at the landscape of America, we've got, 1,000 different religious sects? Denominations? I don't even think all of them get along over here. So exactly, you say Christians, are these Pentecostal? Are these Baptists? Are these Methodists? Are these Seventh-day? Again, don't hold me to all the terminologies, but I'm like, exactly what are we going to go for? And for this to be, in America, we have religious freedom in America. You don't have to be a Christian just because you live in America, right? And so then you look at them and it's like, what did they recreate the Crusades? So America feels as though it's their right and their obligation, or whatever you want to word you want to put on it, to traipse around the planet fighting against people that don't adhere to Christianity. That's not America. You can't go to another country, bro, and tell them people what they should worship and what they should believe in. If you want to go in and help, then there's a lot of ways you could go in and help Africa as far as getting the infrastructure and getting it built up right now. I've got a video from Daddy Elon here in a minute, and I'm not even sure exactly what type of light it sheds on this situation. Because he seems to be, but we'll get to that here in a minute. But again, man, as I just look at this thing and I'm wondering, what's the interest? You've never seen them show any interest in saving anything African. So, it would lead me to believe that even though the stats say that a large number of these people are black Africans, something tells me that the Trump administration isn't going in there to save black Christians,
Donald Trump is considering putting boots on the ground in Nigeria. He's considering doing so allegedly because of this unique event of Christians being killed by Muslims, specifically the terrorist organization Boko Haram. Now we know that's some bullshit. We already know. However, there's also been a knee-jerk reaction from anti-imperialists that insists that this is strictly about gold and oil. And I'm here to tell you, it's a little bit more complicated than that. First of all, let me be clear. This idea that Christians are being killed and therefore that should be a valid excuse for us to invade Nigeria is bullshit. Because despite what people might believe, although Christians have been killed over the last several years, there have been more Muslims killed in Nigeria than Christians. and the Trump administration nor any Western institution has had anything to say about it. The fact of the matter is, Christians from the South and Muslims from the North have been beefing in Nigeria since at least the 90s, non-stop. And Boko Haram, the terrorist organization responsible for killing both Christians and Muslims in Nigeria, was funded and financed by the US. We already know. So now that we know that this really has nothing to do with Christianity or protecting Christians, we can go and address the other part, which is it must be about oil and gold. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2024, Nigeria sent out about $58 billion in oil exports, principally to the United States, France, and Italy. And the reason why the oil, the gold, and other natural resources are going to states that are basically trying to invade Nigeria right now, especially the United States, is because Nigeria already has a U.S. puppet government in place, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all don't know about Tinubu, Mr. Falsify My College Degree with a fake ass name, drug lord from Chicago who somehow became the president of Nigeria? Yeah, do some research on that guy. He the op. So now the question remains, why the hell would the United States want to overthrow their own puppet government? Well, the truth is, they don't want to overthrow the puppet government. They specifically need boots on the ground. They specifically need a base of operation. And it's not necessarily because of what's in Nigeria, but because of the countries surrounding Nigeria, namely Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, otherwise known as the AES. In case you haven't been paying attention over the last couple of years, the AES was successfully able to kick out France and NATO powers. And they've been able to successfully repel all of the terrorist threats that basically NATO funded to overthrow the governments that took back their governments from the Western NATO powers. They've been able to do so by creating a union amongst the three: political, economic, and military union. A union that has, by the way, resulted in France crumbling to such a degree that they've had 525,600 prime ministers in the last 5 years because of the economic failures brought about by the fact they can no longer rob the AES states of their resources. These AES states, these Sahel states, have begun to diversify their economy, strengthen their military, and even partner with countries like Russia and China to take back control. And although Nigeria is firmly in the control of the United States currently, we don't know how long that will last, because I'm sure Nigerians are looking over across the border like, man, it's looking kind of cool over there, man. You telling me the people are actually in control of their economy? The government is actually working on behalf of the people, and the resources of their nations are actually being used to better the livelihood of the people who live there? And I'm sure they're giving Tinubu and that puppet government the side eye right about now. And since the United States can no longer set up shop in the Sahel states, and there is no legitimate reason to overthrow the Nigerian government because that's already a U.S. puppet government, well, we gotta say Christians are dying all of a sudden because we don't really have any other excuse. We really just need to take back control of these countries, or at the bare minimum, make sure that we don't lose Nigeria as well, because we saw what's happening to France, we see what's happening to Western Europe in general, and we see that other African nations are starting to follow by example. Yeah, that's why Trump wants boots on the ground in Nigeria. Yeah, gold, yeah, oil, but it's mostly because of the fear of the Sahel states, or specifically the AES, and the fear that Nigeria might just follow suit if the United States doesn't get control right now.
They're making this like a PR photo op, that they're the righteous Christian conservative leaders of the world, and therefore we would take the new crusades up and go around and make people get down and lay down, in the words of Benny Siegel. You dig what I'm saying? And I just think it's another blatant instance of people showing us what they believe in and who they value. You know what I'm saying? Because we're fighting battles, man, all over the world that we don't need to be in. Again, they're quick to label this a genocide when you've got black and brown people at war with, well, I guess shit in the Israel Hamas thing. I guess it's kind of the same thing. Brown people against the fair skinned people of Israel. You know what I'm saying? But despite numbers in the neighborhood of 100,000 deaths, little pictures of little babies blown up and all that, they will goddamn go to the ends of the earth to swear that this is not a genocide. The people are just mischaracterizing what's going on. They have a complete right and complete authority to retaliate the way that they see fit based off of what happened on October the 7th. But then you go to this situation, which, like I said, has got an amount of maybe 55,000 people over the last 15 years, and they're just running around the world swearing it's a genocide. We need to send the military in. And oddly enough, you need to hurry up and send the military in to Africa, the black place on earth. You know what I'm saying? And for them to think people don't look at this and see it, bro, it's just like, I don't know if they just like, fuck, we just gonna ride it till the wheels fall off, or, you know, whatever smoke get to rise down here in the streets, we'll be shielded from it. And, you know, it's just putting people that support them in a very dangerous position, especially if they want to support them and go out in the streets and repeat the rhetoric that they hear from the Trump administration and Pam Bondys and the Cash Patels of the world. You know what I'm saying? But I have no faith that this is a good faith gesture by the Trump administration, because he now has a soft spot or any kind of humanitarian thoughts about the continent of Africa and its people. I think this is a ploy to show the white conservative religious sect here in America that you know, he's all on their side, even though they're mad at him about the whole Israel thing. But more so, like Amanda Seales said, and you know, like some of the things I just brought to the table, I think it's more of an opportunity to go in and take over an economy and a land that is rife with resources. You dig what I'm saying? If you let this guy tell it, I don't know, maybe they're preparing it so that they can leave America and go take over some parts of Africa in which to raise their people.
The big concern at the moment, and why I think South Africa is a big talking point in the US right now, is America in the next 20 years will become, for the first time in its history, a minority white country.
Well, that will be a very, very bad thing to happen. You want to see the US go down? Why? Oh, you don't like cars and electric cars, and you don't like technology, or what is it? You want to go back to the jungle, or?
If the US becomes a minority white country.
Yes.
So there's Latinas, there's blacks, there's people from all different races make up the majority, and then, you know, it could be 48% white people. Do you really think the US is doomed if it goes under?
Yes, it goes under there.
Seriously?
Yes, of course. You see, if you take South Africa, we have a small white population that projects the European culture, or what we learned from Europe.
And oppressed millions of black people.
No.
For decades.
How do you oppress? We gave them work, we fed them. They grew from a tiny little group into a massive group. That's not oppression, that's feeding them. Do you understand? You only grow big if you get fed. You only start at 800 and become 50 million if you get fed. We fed them, for crying out loud. You know, enough with this nonsense.
But so you understand, because the black population was so oppressed under apartheid.
Well, we never saw this oppression you're talking about.
You never saw it?
No, I never saw it.
Yeah, because you're white.
You know, I say a lot of times, I don't know that if I wish this, but, you know, I say oftentimes that there's a good handful of people, and Errol Musk now fits into this category. A category of people that I say they're lucky that I have fly shit to live for. You dig what I'm saying? They lucky that I got motion in life, because I picture myself being like a vigilante, and I would just like travel around the country and just get an opportunity to get beside somebody like Errol Musk and elbow the shit out of his teeth. I knock all his teeth out of his mouth. Did you hear this man just sit here and say, well, do you want to go back to the jungle? If America becomes minority white, meaning more colored people in America, then we destined to go back to the jungle. No more electric cars, no more internet, no more food. What is Errol, bro? Now, Elon Musk isn't in the MAGA as far as I know. He's got a son that's a MAGA, and that's close enough for me. A son that he named after a character from a Werner von Braun book. Werner von Braun was a well-known Nazi, from the Hitler days. Well-known. He wrote some lame-ass book about a colony on Mars. I think they were going to be called Elon or some stupid shit. And this is what he named his son after. So this is the group of people we're talking about. Elon Musk is not to be regarded as some super smart guy. I think he made the PayPal shit, but as far as Tesla and SpaceX, he bought all these companies. That's his dad. His dad said, how do you oppress people if you feed them and they grow from 800 to 1 million people? That's called feeding them. Well, apartheid and slavery, those are weird, that's a weird word to put on those things. During slavery time, populations exploded. They had kids, they had sex, had babies. They was getting fed after they got out of the field in the end of the day. But that is not the part of life in which to present as, the basis of their existence. You dig what I'm saying? They were slaves. These people held in apartheid. They were sectioned off into small parts of the country, deprived of resources. The rich getting richer, the poor getting poor. This is what really happened. Elon Musk said, well, now we were feeding them. You got to stop this with this oppression. We were feeding them food. Probably slop. Leftover old pig carcass meat type shit. You understand what I'm saying? So, again, even though he's not MAGA, he's got a son that he is, and it is close enough for me. So, a group of people that seem to think of the continent of Africa and its inhabitants, to seem to think of them as a people that, without a system of governance in which to show them the right way, and allow them to propel and make something out of themselves. Without that being in place, they bound to drown. Without the white people in place, the world and the United States will go to absolute shit. So it's like a group of people that tend to think like that. It's hard to look at what they're doing in Africa right now, or attempting to do, and look at it with any type of a good eye and think like, yeah, it's a valiant effort behind this. You know what I'm saying? They really just want to, make it to where people are allowed to worship as they will. But you've got to know it's just another angle on the Christian against the Muslim faith, and America being a world leader and a conservative Christian here, and everyone needs to adopt our attitude and our belief system, and that will go on to make a world a better place. And also, while we're over here in Africa, we're going to set up a new government and steal a lot of money. Because if you look at the white evangelical right over here, bro, I don't see anything shiny coming from that. It's full of PDFs. It's rife with fraud and bigotry. You dig what I'm saying? And so, to look at this move that Nicki Minaj, stupid ass, has attached herself to, someone that the black community does not hold in high regards as far as looking at her to get any kind of righteous opinion about anything. She's, outside of the music she makes, she used to be fine. That ass kind of looking stupid now that it's starting to melt. So again, people on the Caucasus Mountain side of it, bro, we don't worship celebrities and idols like that. We don't hang on their every word and vote the way that they tell us to vote. And so your choice of parading Nicki Minaj out there, most likely got you laughed at more than anything. Now, I'm sure there's people in Nigeria that applaud the move, but these are the people that one Malcolm X most likely spoke about in one of his videos before he left this earth.
I just told you a little while ago, these leaders that they call leaders, this included Lena Horne, this included Dick Gregory, and this included comedians, comics, trumpet players, baseball players. Show me in the white community where a comedian is a white leader. Show me in the white community where a singer is a white leader, or a dancer or a trumpet player is a white leader. These aren't leaders. These are puppets and clowns that have been set up over the white community and over the black community by the white community, and have been made celebrities, and usually say exactly what they know that the white man wants to hear.
You dig what I'm saying? And so You just have to you have to question the messenger, man. And so I again, like Amanda still said, I don't really know what any of this has to do with us over in Nigeria. Sounds like you're ready to go and invade instead of get people out of harm's way, and it sounded like a ploy to go in and take over and decentralize, as the United States is known to do. And so we're gonna need them Epstein files out, man. You know what I'm saying? You run around doing all this bullshit, cheesing on the camera, cussing out reporters, calling them piggy and all this, that, and the third. Let's get them them Epstein files out. They say you out here getting bubble and things. Like, we need to clean this up, Trump. You know what I'm saying? Because you're really out here deflecting, and people not near as stupid as you would imagine them to be. And so we're gonna need them files and quit running around here trying to deflect with all this bullshit and leave them folks in Africa alone. That's they fight to fight. We don't even know that this is serious. As somebody can just show Trump a AI Sora video, and that's something to send fighter jets somewhere. So I don't think it's a valiant effort. I don't think they care to help the African people. I think this is just another angle on trying to present the Christian faith and Christian conservatism as the thing that literally runs the world, and they feel like they can run around the world and enforce their opinions and their belief system on everybody else. And so that's where we are. And so a person like Nicki Minaj, with the background she's got, with the things she's got going on, she should be the last person to want to draw attention to herself, especially for something so stupid as this, when she stand up there obviously not knowing what the fuck she's talking about. So that's where we are with that. So whenever some new details come around, I'll get them to you all my people. But until then, it's been straight like that. I'm out.
And here we go. I don't know what kind of vibe you think you got off me, but I don't play that way.